of my friends and burnt one of my...
That's it?
Well, he used one of my DVDs so much it broke. So
oh, wow. That's hard to do.
When is there going to be a sequel?
Well, I like your confidence. I think that question, Alan and I did a con in Cincinnati last year, and we were given the go-ahead by Magnolia and by our producers to announce that we were doing a sequel. And people flipped out, and it was amazing. And then the last year has been spent with Eli and Alan and myself, not like every day or anything, but we were like, last year we spent some time reading scripts, and we've had writers coming in and pitching stuff, because Eli has this big deal for a big studio deal for his new movie called Little Evil, which Alan and I will both be making an appearance in, but that's all sort of unofficial, so don't fucking tell anybody. Get off your drugs. But we just, I guess the short answer is, we really want to, but what we don't want to do is be opportunistic. And the only reason Tucker and Dale is anything, and the only reason it has any integrity is because of you guys wearing out your DVDs and telling 20 of your friends that you like it. Otherwise, nobody would have ever even seen that movie. So I think it's a real sort of, it's an opportunistic, shitty thing to do to the people that made your film, to make a really crappy sequel to try to capitalize on whatever popularity that you guys have generated. If that makes sense. Yeah. So, thank you. We want to make one really badly, but it's just got to be good. That's it. And the scripts that we got so far were just not up to snuff, and you guys would have hated it, so we're not doing those. We will, however, get to a good script one day, and hopefully, if all things line up, and God willing, we'll make it.
All right, I hope so.
Thanks. Do you have sort of a core of an idea that you want a writer to pursue with the plot? Like sort of where you guys see the characters?
Yeah, I mean, again, here's my favorite short answer to that question is, I want to make a sequel called Tucker versus Dale. One of us gots to go. And that's it. That's what I would love to do, is somehow we end up in a real predicament where one of us just has to die. And one of us has to kill the other one.
I mean, as it is, Alan's character certainly took a brunt of the punishment. And do you want to explore you losing some fingers, or?
Yeah, and I think it'd be fun to see where Katrina's character and Dale have ended up, Allison and Dale. And I think it'd be fun to watch Tucker get a girl in the next one, you know? And we've obviously played around with many genres that we can sort of parody, and The Hills Have Eyes was certainly one that we were really into, about them sort of assimilating with this like crew of nuclear fallout like weirdos, and they don't really understand why these people are just like, they're just so nice, they're all such nice people, very accommodating. But I don't know, you know, we really just, there's like there's any number of movies and genres that we could parody and satire, but like I said, it's got to be not the same joke. We can't just do the same jokes. So,
Cool. Hey there.
Hi, I'm a huge fan. Loved you ever since I saw you in Reaper.
Thanks, man.
And Tucker and Dale is easily my favorite movie.
Cool.
And it has just so many great lines throughout the whole movie, and it makes me wonder: is that all scripted, or was there quite a bit of improv?
Well, that's a good question. I feel like you probably already know the answer. Like if you watch the movie and you feel like, well, that couldn't have been scripted, it probably wasn't scripted. But Eli is such a great writer that there were many moments that we were just like, don't even begin to toy with that. Like just leave it. Like some of the best lines, like, I should have known if a guy like me talked to a girl like you, somebody ended up dead. That's like, that was a line that I was just like, you can't improv anything better than that. So there was a real balance with Eli that we struck early on, because I'm very sort of, and Alan too, are strongly improv-based actors. That's sort of what we do. It's kind of like why people hire us all the time, is because we can just roll with it, you know? And Eli was just kind of like, I don't want you guys to do that. I don't want you to do that. When I tell you not to do it, just don't do it. You know, just trust me. And Eli had taken a real gamble on me. Like, I'm not a movie star. I had never like led a movie. Certainly nothing that you guys have seen anyway. And he was like, and I've never directed a feature before. So like, let's just go into this with that understanding. Like, I'm taking a chance on you. You take a chance on me, and just trust me. So there was a lot of improv when he allowed us to, but when he didn't want it, he was very like, just knock it off and trust me, which is hard to do sometimes as an actor who you feel like that's your bread and butter. But yeah, he was very smart. And I think that's why the movie really worked, is because he really did strike that balance of like where the movie could sort of go off the rails a bit and where it needed to very strictly sort of stay on the rails in order to keep all the balls in the air, you know?
Right.
Alright,
Cool.
thank you.
No problem.
Just want to point out, if it's your favorite movie, you're not cosplaying from Tucker and Dale. That's like Hunger Games or whatever, right? Like, so, Final Fantasy. Just pointing that out.
So I'm just wondering what your personal favorite character was to play, and why.
Oh man. Again, I've played characters that you guys have probably never even heard of, so I'm going to eliminate any of those that I think. But the... Oh man, that's a good question. I would have to say Sock was probably my favorite character I've ever played. For my Saki. And I'll tell you why exactly. Because I've certainly played roles since then that I love and I really hold near to my heart. But Sock was the first time that I did a show where the creators, they hired me and they were like, we love what you do, like do it. And then I pushed, I got a little arrogant about it, you know, or cocky, but to a degree where I was like, I really want to try, just like, someone just let me do what I want to do, you know? Like, I never really got to totally cut loose. And I did it in the pilot with Kevin Smith, right, directing. And he was so supportive, like right away, he was like, I don't think you can say anything unfunny, like just go and do it. And he was shouting ideas and doing it. And the show, I was getting sort of reprimanded a little bit on set, like you gotta rein it in a little bit. And then the show tested, you know, they do these focus group tests or whatever. And Sock tested higher than any character in the history of the network. And they called me and they were like, you can do whatever you want. And I was like, oh, it was like I was the monkey on Animal Practice. You guys remember that bad show I did? Yeah. The monkey tested through the roof. So they're like, more monkey. And I was the monkey. So I got to sort of push and do these things that I had never done. And I really was just experimenting with like how gross I could be with having people not lose interest in me, you know? Like I needed to tell this line of like being a despicable guy, but lovable. And it was an invaluable learning experience for me. I learned so much from playing Sock, and it's things that I've like kept in my repertoire and honed in on and worked on forever. But Sock is the one that I remember where I was like, yeah man, we got given some leeway and they took it, and that was cool. You offering me another beer?
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. I wish more panels involved alcohol. Just
Do you want my beer?
No. Okay. You know, the thing I love about Comic-Con is people show up and they're celebrating the things that they love, that they either grew up with or makes them feel like a big kid. As a creator, as someone that's out there in the industry, is there anything that you're kind of like into